Hi, I'm Jen Quater. I'm president and CEO of the Smart Agency. I'm really honored to be counted among the women of influence this year as designated by Globe Street, which is an organization that we highly, highly respect. So as part of that award, what I wanted to do was take a moment to honor women in business in particular, and to honor this conversation around what is an influential woman and how does that shape our industry. So the first question that we want to talk about today is what does it mean to be a woman in business?
I think for myself, I'm definitely more of a woman in business. I have a life outside of my business. I have children and I have a family. So being a woman in business, I'm still a professional and I'm still a very serious businesswoman, but I also incorporate my life into my business.
The phrase woman in business kind of feels overwhelming a little bit because it is. There's so much societal pressure on what a woman is. Even if you don't have children, I just feel like women are just such the heart in the home and so depended on by their families that it encompasses so much. And I think that obviously every woman in business is different, but it kind of puts a pressure that I'm kind of like navigating.
Yeah, I agree with Elizabeth. I think there is a lot of pressure just being a woman in business in general. You're expected to kind of be in all places at once and give 100% in each part. And I think there's a lot of guilt that comes with not being able to be present always everywhere. But to be a woman in business, to me, for me, it's like freedom, it's independence. It's having something like that's just for you. And so for me, like I was the first in my family to go to college. Like my parents didn't go to college. And so like for me, like I'm like really proud to be a woman in business.
There's a sense of pride I have in it, but also an annoyance. Like, why can't I just be like a person in business? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like when I go into a work environment, like I am who I am, and I can do just as good a job as anybody else. It shouldn't matter if I'm a man or a woman. So that's where that annoyance comes in. But I also have this pride about it, because when I go and tell people I work in commercial real estate, they are impressed, and I'm proud of that.
I like that. There's a complexity to that.
Exactly.
And I appreciate what you're saying, which is kind of like, I both honor the distinction and also I'm like, hey, don't call me out for that,
Exactly.
So there are just a lot of different ways that you can be a woman in business, and it doesn't have to be defined necessarily. And I think the women today who are specifically in the commercial real estate industry are making it up as we go along. We're defining how we want this to work, how it works for us in our lives, with our families, with our children, with our friends and our coworkers. I think there's never been a better time to be a woman in commercial real estate.
I like being a woman in business. I think I hold that title proudly. I feel like it's empowering almost, because I think there's almost like a perception of being like underestimated almost. So I feel like I always feel like I'm rising to the occasion almost, or like I think it almost motivates me to be like go into situations over prepared, because I want to always like rise to the occasion. I also think that women bring certain unique abilities that maybe men don't, in terms of like emotional intelligence and approaching things, maybe leading with like empathy and compassion. I think that those aren't like weaknesses, those are really powerful. So those empower me.